Hi everyone, it's Jamie from Elevate Yoga with another little video yoga practice for you. Today's practice is restorative. It's one of my favorite types of yoga, and that's my dog, Lola Bean. We're in my home, and this is one of her favorite practices too. So we're going to do 3 different poses. And I strongly recommend when you do restorative yoga to stay in each pose for at least 6 to 10 minutes. If you're really feeling a pose, stay in it longer. Stay in it as long as it feels good. If anything is not comfortable, make little adjustments and don't be afraid to get creative. Use pillows, use towels, use washcloths, anything that'll support you and fill up any of the extra space to make you the most comfortable as possible. The beautiful thing about restorative yoga is that it brings our body into rest and digest mode. It activates our parasympathetic nervous system, and we live in this world where we're just constantly in fight or flight mode. Even when we don't think we're stressed, the constant stimulation that we get from just being in the world activates our stress response. So restorative yoga is a beautiful way to heal that and let the body repair itself. So the first pose I'm going to do is a really gentle heart opener. You want one larger block, and you can use one smaller block or 2 of the same size, whatever. And you're going to take this block on the lowest setting. You're going to want to make sure that the block is right underneath the tips of your shoulder blades so that you feel like those little wingtips are right at the edge of the block. Otherwise, it's not going to feel like the heart is opening from the right spot. And then when you lay back, you're going to take the other block and bring it behind your head. So your head will rest on it, whichever height feels most appropriate for you. I like to take it on the medium height. Be aware of your throat, your neck, the back of the vertebrae in the neck, keeping the cervical spine in neutral. So you don't want to have the head too far back, or you don't want to have the chin to the chest. So I'm going to turn my mat so you can see this pose better. Lola, do you know you're on TV? So you want to lay back and find that spot, and then take the other block under your head. I'm not sure if you guys can see me, so I'm going to scooch up a little bit further. This is what happens when you don't have a cameraman. Just guerrilla video. Alright, so you really want to make sure that the tips of the shoulders are at the edge of that block, and that your shoulders are falling between the 2 blocks in that space so that you can really open through the heart. So you can have your legs, the most gentle on the low back is feet on the floor, knees up to the ceiling. Or you can turn it into more of a restorative fish pose by extending the legs a little bit more intense in the low back. Or if you'd like to incorporate a little bit of hip opening, you can take the soles of your feet together and your knees apart. And I would recommend taking something underneath your knees, maybe pillows, maybe folded up yoga blankets, maybe blocks, whatever you've got, and making that nice and comfy. So again, don't be afraid to get up, make changes, and just ask yourself, does this feel better or worse? And stay here for 6, 8, 10 minutes. Pause the video and hang out as long as you want. And then when you're ready to come back, take your time to Slowly bring the feet back to the floor, and then curl yourself off the blocks, come down to one side, find fetal position. And then gently, keeping the eyes kind of soft. Lola, get out of the video! Bean, you're not helping. I know it can be hard to do a home yoga practice when there's things like kids, dogs, telephones, computers. So do your best to work with what you've got. So from here, we're going to take Supta Baddha Konasana. So get your blocks if you've got them. Otherwise, use whatever you've got. This is not time to play with Pinky. This is time for Mommy to make a yoga video. Hold on and we'll do your favorite pose. She loves to sit in my lap in Supta Baddha Konasana. So, you make a ramp out of your bolster. And my bolster is kind of big, so I'm gonna sit on a blanket just to give myself a little bit of height because I don't want a really big back bend here. Hold on one second, baby girl. And then from here, I'm gonna unfold my yoga blanket and roll it up until it makes a nice long skinny roll. And even because my bolster is so big, I'm going to squish the bottom down a little bit. And take the soles of the feet together and bring the blanket over the tops of the feet and then pull it underneath. Do you want Pinky now? No? I'll leave her here for you. And then lay on back. If you feel like your arms are really far away from the floor, bring something underneath your arms so that the shoulders are on the back. So settle in here and allow the hips to softly open. Allow the heart to gently open. Come into your 3-part breath. Feel the abdomen rise and fall as your diaphragm presses down and expands with your breath. The ribs move in all 4 directions and the chest gently lift. So again, stay here for as long as you're enjoying it. If you want to make this pose into a bigger back bend, simply lower the bolster. You can even take it all the way down or just put it on a lower height, and then you'll get more openness through the heart and more of a back bend here. So whatever feels good in your body, make any little adjustments you might need. If you have a softer, squishier bolster or a rectangular long bolster, you might not need to sit on a blanket at the end of your bolster. So that is something to note as well. So stay here as long as you're happy, 6 to 10 minutes, or until you feel complete. And then when you're ready, feet to the floor, knees to the ceiling, and shift off to your right hand side. curl up into fetal position. Keep your eyes soft or closed. Use your bicep as a pillow. Transitions in our restorative practice are super important. You don't want to jar the body moving from one pose to the next. Even opening your eyes softly and allowing the light to come in slowly will create a more therapeutic, meditative experience in your practice. You don't want to set off any fight or flight alarms. So press down with your left hand and come on up. And then we're going to finish with one of my favorite ways to do Shavasana. So I'm a belly sleeper. I love sleeping face down. So if this is for you, you'll probably enjoy that as well. So just set your props off to the side. All you need for this one is blanket. So get that one blanket that you've had before and unfold it nice and long. Fold it over once, fold it over twice, until you've got like a nice supportive long blanket here. And have the rounded edges pointing towards the top of your mat. And then, you know what? I folded my blanket wrong. I knew something was wrong. It needs to be the long way. So unfold it the whole way. Yeah, this is way better. Brain fart, sorry. So get it nice and long. Yeah, because we're gonna tie this blanket, like wrap it around us like a hug. So take the blanket and fold it in half this way, nice and long, and then in half again. I knew something wasn't right. Okay, so now it's really long, and you've got the two fringed edges at the end. That's way better. Yeah, so you still want the rounded edge pointing towards the head of your mat so that you have a nice smooth edge here. When you do restorative yoga, it's a little bit like Princess and the Pea. If there's any little ripples or bumps, you're going to feel them. So be really mindful and careful about folding your blankets and having everything really as smooth as possible, because it's your nervous system that we're working with here. So you want the space between your frontal hip points and your pubic bone to your frontal hip points and your belly button to be laying on the blanket. So you want to come face down and then take note that your frontal hip points are at the bottom of the blanket. I don't even know if you guys can see me because I can't see me. So your frontal hip points are at the bottom of the blanket, and your belly button is just around the rounded edge, the top part of the blanket. And then from here, you're going to wrap yourself once and fold this back. And then wrap yourself again, almost like, I think of it as like a Japanese kimono. And then take your hands to a pillow, and you can turn your cheek to one side, or you can take your forehead to center. And it's super duper grounding because you've got a little bit of extra weight on your sacrum and this sort of hugging feeling around your waist. And being face down is really calming and soothing. So stay here for as long as you like.